Hello everybody and welcome back. I am KRX and we're continuing on with this EU4, Europa Universalis 4 tutorial for complete beginners. This is with the 1.31 patch, major patch of 2021. Leviathan DLC, Southeast Asia and North America updates. Big patch. Lots of changes for the core game. And just sort of the base game for free game, and also of course if you have the DLC as well. We're playing without the DLCs, no DLCs included here. Of course, if you guys are just joining us for some reason because YouTube likes to recommend episodes out of order, there's a playlist link down below to get you going on episode 1, because we've been building up our foundational understanding. So we're going to be mentioning comments or concepts and talking about things that we've already discussed in previous episodes. Hopefully we're not glossing over too many important things. This game is incredibly difficult to learn. You can't learn it from a single series, but hopefully we're learning. There's enough bits and bobs here that we're picking up on, that we're filling in some gaps for people that have been struggling, and maybe at least even posing some questions so that we can help to answer some things and stuff like that. Currently it is 1457 right now, and we're in a war against the Pope, and we're at a war against Provence as well. We wanted to get into this war against Provence because Brittany's also in a war against Provence. They're going for Anjou province. I wanted to make sure that we took this for ourselves. We saw that and we just wanted to swoop in quickly and grab that. So we've now sort of made it so that that Brittany's not going to be able to get that province that they want. I do want to make sure, however, though, that we're at 21% here for sieging down the Pope, and then we're going to need to go over to Rome and beat up Rome a little bit as well, and maybe even beat up Switzerland a little bit to get them out of the war. So we just need to win these two wars against the Pope and Switzerland. They're teamed up together, and Provence and Siena are teamed up together. Provence is basically completely already out of the... Siena has just a few thousand troops. It's basically nothing. The Pope has quite a bit more, although they're split between the Swiss army and the Papacy army, so it shouldn't be too bad. We have a toehold in Ireland, and we're going to want to leverage that. We're building up spy networks on Leinster right now to take advantage of that. We're trying to butter up Orleans right now because we are actually past the 10-year cooldown in order to integrate some of these nations, so we're going to want to integrate Orleans if we get the chance. Importantly, we are going to need to actually butter up nations around us. Like, I'm going to start buttering up Aragon, because when we take all of this land right here, it's going to create a diplomatic explosion in this area, and it's going to make people see us as a warmonger. In fact, we can actually sort of... I guess we don't have a diplomat to show that off, but if we take these 3 provinces from the Pope, and we're trying to take all of Provence if we can, because that gets us a big mission against Burgundy. So we're going to try to butter up Aragon and butter up Milan and Savoy and a lot of these neighboring nations here, so they're not going to be so upset with us for us taking this land. So we've unpaused the game. We're on speed 3. We're keeping a close eye here. Actually, what do we do? Are we building up our navy right now? Yes, we're building up some heavy ships. That's good. We're probably going to want to build a couple more heavy ships, honestly. We still have, what is it, like 13 years before we attack England or something like that? We got time. Infiltrators found. Okay, that's fine. Provence is just trying to do some stuff to us there. No big deal. Yeah, these guys are kind of doing a thing here, it seems. We should be intercepting these 3,000 cavalry. That should be a clean fight. Okay. And now I think if we march on Switzerland, I think we might get Switzerland to bow out of the war, potentially. The Pope is only in the war against us. It looks like they have 9,000 troops down here in Lucca. Oh. Actually, what would happen here exactly? They don't... Oh, we're locked. Whoops. This could be a bad battle. I don't know who the defender's going to be because this is neutral territory. It is in the hills, though. We should probably be the attacker. Yeah, we're the aggressor here. And we are the French, at least. So this should be... Yeah, we're cleanly winning this. That's a stack wipe on the... Oh, no, it's not a stack wipe. Not a stack wipe. Looks like we did finish here. I'm going to move just a few troops here to hold on to the siege that... Brittany is working on right now. In case Brittany moves off of it, I want to take credit. I want to be the one that takes credit for it. These 14,000 here, we need to quickly go and reinforce, actually. Sorry, or not those 3,000, just the 14,000. We need to make sure our vassals don't do anything silly. We got 6,000 vassals down here. I'd like to defend them if we can. Although I think we can get Switzerland out of this war. They're at medium right now. Let's get them out. Let's get them out. We have 20 spy network on Leinster, so we're just going to grab a fabricate claim on that province and get ready for war there. Let's back them out. Ooh, our subjects, are they going to lose against Siena here? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Hold, hold, hold. 3,000 versus 1,500. You can do this, man. They're rolling. They got a river crossing. They're rolling terribly. They have worse morale. They have worse military technology? They haven't even teched up to military tech 4. What are they doing with their lives? Holy cow. Let's get Switzerland out of here. Although Switzerland's kind of thinking they're not... They don't need to... We're putting pressure on their capital, but they're kind of thinking, everything's fine. Oh, we did end up winning that. I guess they saw us coming and they just left. Moving our 14,000 down here. Yeah, Switzerland's like a day or two away from leaving the war, but right now they're... Oh, they're willing to leave. So if we go to separate peace, right? Switzerland. So I went here. Switzerland. I clicked down here on Switzerland. And now we're offering a separate peace to Switzerland. And basically the thought process with this is... I just want to get them out of the war. I don't need anything from Switzerland. And we've won a battle against them. We sieged down a little bit of their land. We're pillaging them a little bit. We're on their capital. We are besieging their capital. So they're like, okay, time to go. Time to leave. And they're gonna bow out of the war. Okay, booyah. These 21,000. Let's group all these guys up here. Let's get them down here quickly through the Alps. And get them to Rome. Yeah, unfortunately, we did take this, but we're not actually the ones sitting here. Oh, we're actually black flagged? Really? Okay, I guess we're black flagged. That means we need to go back, touch our own territory, and then move forward. I'm not going to help our subject there, because that is a losing battle right there. We are not going to win that one. We need these 20,000 troops to come back. Hey, Aragon's looking pretty happy. If we were to test out what would it be like to take this land here, that's quite a bit of aggressive expansion. A number of countries are going to be upset about this. Provence and England don't care. Burgundies are going to hate us no matter what. The Pope's going to hate us no matter what, and there's going to be a truce against the Pope. Genoa, so Genoa and Savoy are the big ones. So let's get Savoy and let's try to butter them up a bit. Once we're done with the Savoy, we'll need to work on Genoa. Aragon seems to be fine at the moment, though, temporarily. Okay, okay, this isn't working. We need to get all the way into our own territory. Oh, it did work. It did work. Now, ideally, this battle is a little bit better. We should probably be helping our vassal here, but we're not going to, because I guess we're jerks. We're taking attrition here because we just have too big of an army moving through Italy here. These 2,000 are going to bump in. Okay, let's see what happens here. We're the aggressor, but it's in the farmlands. It's 25,000 against 10,000. We have a better general. We're not rolling very well. We're rolling terribly. But it was a big stack wipe, so. Big stack wipe. Big stack wipe. In fact, we might not even need to finish Rome here. We're carpet sieging them. I'm just taking off groups at 2,000. We need 1,000 to siege a province, but I'm grabbing off 2 just to make sure that if they take a little bit of attrition, they still have more than 1,000. They don't dip below. Although I'm realizing that we need 9,000 for Rome. Okay, Savoy should be plenty happy. We need to start working on Genoa. Aragon should be plenty happy as well. Will they give us what we want? I would like to take the money from them, honestly. But I also want to end this war as quickly as possible. Genoa, Burgundy, and Saluzzo right now are the three. Let's see. They're low. They will do this. I'm gonna just end this war as quickly as possible. Genoa, where? Okay, you're in barely. If we wait till January, Genoa will be a no. Genoa will not join the coalition. They'll dip. So the aggressive expansion that they have against us is decaying away at 2.3 per year. So right now it said they'd have exactly 50 at the end of the war. Right now they're going to go down to 4 from 6. If we go back to here, we check this. 59. Yeah, Genoa's not even in the list anymore. Booyah. That war is over. That is good. However, we do not get to... one negative thing here is we do not get to core these provinces because Provence has claims on all this land. So we don't get to core any of this until we finish the war against Provence. The tricky thing is we need a diplomat to check this, but when we get land, if we take land from Provence, everybody's going to be upset, including Genoa. So we kind of need to make a decision there. I don't think there's a fort in Siena. No, there's no fort. Bring everybody home. In fact, I'm going to want to get a bunch of people in Ireland, I think. Bring them home. Bring them home. I'm going to go here, Avignon, where we have a fort that we just captured from the Pope. I'm going to delete that and get rid of that. I'm actually kind of tempted to work on buttering up the Pope a little bit. That excommunication modifier, the -200, will go away eventually as soon as our leader dies. I also want to make sure that we're paying down corruption as much as we need to so that it doesn't accumulate. So I'm going to slide that bar up. The corruption basically just increases the cost of all PowerPoint costs, which is kind of bad. Oh yeah, this is something we want to do. We want to get we want to get an idea group. This is great. And we're going to be 8 years ahead of time. We're going to get a production bonus from this. We're going to get a yearly corruption reduction. That'll save us some money on rooting out corruption, all kinds of good stuff. We did take a 7% penalty, but we got a 5% discount. So it's we about broke even on that. So we did want to get the administrative tech 5. And then that gives us a new idea group. This right here says you can choose a new idea group. And you can see the technologies and ideas are right next to each other in the tabs. We have a free slot here. So we have some unique French ideas here. These are like sort of like passive bonuses that we'll get as we get more generic ideas. The generic ideas we get to pick from any of these categories, so they're not that generic. But these will be the same no matter what country you're playing. Offensive is always offensive. However, the French ones are unique and they'll fill in over time as you fill in the offensive ones. The French one, it's 3 generic ones give you 1 specific nation one. So you need to complete 3 different idea groups in order to fill up your French ideas completely. And the French ones happen to be very powerful, and we can take a look at what some of those things will be as we unlock them. But essentially, the idea groups are like the philosophies of the nation. It's the way that you customize your nation. And this is, and it uses the technology points, the monarch points, the power points, just like technologies do. Okay, so it's part of the technology. It's part of it. You unlock them from technology. You spend the same resources as you would to get new technologies to move up these different tracks. You pick a single group and you're stuck with that group. And the group represents, either administrative ideas, which will cost administrative power, or diplomatic ideas, or military ideas, which will cost diplomatic or military power, respectively. And really, for the most part, we don't need to read the specifics of these things and see, what does this mean? Do we care about the specific perks? Each of these is 7 clicks. It takes seven different perks that we can earn over time in each of these categories. And then you can actually get cross bonuses for getting different combinations of ideas together, which is really cool. And a lot of that doesn't really matter. Really, what we're doing is you can just read the names here. Trade ideas. Do we want to bolster our trade economy? Well, it's pretty low right now. That could be reason to bolster it, or it could be reason to say, hey, our trade is not the way we're making our money. We're making our money through just taxation and development. Maybe economic ideas would be better for France than trade ideas. Who maybe trade would be better for Portugal or for England or for Denmark or something. And eventually trade ideas could be really good for France. It's just not something we're really specialized in now. We could do exploration ideas, and we could start gearing up to explore the new world. This allows us to recruit explorers and conquistadors. We can get ideas, offensive ideas, as opposed to defensive ideas, right? Offensive ideas if we're planning on being aggressive, which we have been aggressive, and I think we're planning on continually being aggressive. There's some amazing benefits, military benefits, when you're on the offensive with offensive ideas, as you can imagine. Quality ideas gives us just higher quality troops. Quantity gives us the ability to raise larger armies. But the truth is, we already have one of the largest armies in the world, so maybe France doesn't need quantity ideas. Maybe it would be better to have a higher quality of troop, since we already have a large quantity just in the inherentness of France. Naval ideas and maritime ideas, these would be, maritime would help us with trade through the Navy strength, strengthening the Navy and helping us with trade and prosperity as a side bit to that the maritime Navy. Although naval ideas would give us a lot of edge against England's Navy, which is quite powerful, and England will probably be taking naval ideas at some point, giving them benefits to their ships and all kinds of things, and their naval commanders and leaders. I mean, it seems like for France, just diplomatic ideas are obviously incredibly strong. Influence ideas, we were talking about influence ideas a little bit earlier, a few episodes ago, right? This helps us with subjects. This makes it cheaper to integrate subjects. This makes it easier to have more subjects. This makes it easier to get more from your subjects. Influence ideas could be very good for France. We're already very decentralized, although we're working on centralizing ourselves. Influence ideas are great. All of them are great. Like truly, all of these are actually pretty amazing. But it's really just kind of what's popping out on us. We haven't really had any diplomatic issues yet, but I can tell you diplomatic ideas are very, very strong. We're about to run into some diplomatic issues here, right, as we're starting to take more land and people are getting a little angry about it. Diplomatic ideas can help temper that a little bit. Offensive ideas, I mean, it seems like we're going on the offensive a lot. Exploration ideas, I mean, don't we want to settle the new world and get all the riches and resources from that? I mean, there's no right answer here. Economic ideas would play right into the strengths of France as well, and to continue to specialize our country as a tax, as a very prosperous, high development, very rich citizenry, and therefore a rich nation is related to that through taxation and development. Any of these would be fantastic. What I will say is these different idea groups do cost the points, right? So you tend to get a little behind on the technology that is associated with the idea that you take. So diplomatic ideas, we're already a little behind on diplomatic technology. We're at 545. If we took a diplomatic idea group, we'd fall even further behind on diplomatic. And if we start integrating Orleans, that'll cost diplomatic points too. So we're going to be way behind on diplomatic tech. Which, to be fair, diplomatic tech is the least important, but still you don't want to fall way, 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 way behind on technology. If you're going to fall way behind on technology, doing it in the diplomatic section is totally fine. A lot of people would take a diplomatic first just out of principle. But the truth is, we're 8 years ahead of time on military. We can use our admin points to core land that we're taking aggressively, right? We can see that there's already we already have to spend a few hundred points worth of admin just to core this land, and we're going to be taking even more from Provence. So the admin points are going to have somewhere to go, even if we're not getting technologies right away. It could be good to get a military idea. We might have a surplus of military points, plus we're gaining 9 per month. That's quite a bit. Offensive. I mean, let's just not think about it. Let's not even worry about what we're getting yet. Let's just get offensive. That sounds good for France. Napoleon is very offensive. Hundreds of years later from this point, but still. We can, we can warm up to the Napoleonic age by being aggressive now. But we can see as we get things here, we'll have stronger leaders. We'll have, we can recruit troops faster. This 20% siege ability is huge. Extra discipline. Land fort. Actually, we can make bigger armies too. So there's a number of things here that get more prestige from land battles. Number of things that we'll get from offensive ideas. Quite a good idea group and quite fitting for France. Okay. So we've gotten our first idea group. That is good. We have the money for Defender of the Faith, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's too expensive. We're going to spend most of our money on building buildings, I think. I would really like to actually get the next admin technology in order to get workshops, right? Workshops would be great, but the technology penalty is getting higher and higher and higher for us. And we're not quite at 600 anyways. And a lot of that is just coming from, and we can get high income here, which will make the buildings even cheaper. I'm going to wait to use that. Because again, we're just not quite ready to actually build. We're not quite ready to actually build any buildings until we get those workshops to build. I'm moving a general onto this 1,000 stack just so we can move them into this province and get them working on the siege and helping with the siege. We could probably just let Siena go. No, they don't want to go. They don't want to leave yet, for whatever reason. Kind of weird. Where's our fleet? Let's get our fleet together. In fact, it looks like we're trying to rally people in Ireland at the moment. We're getting blockaded over here. We can't move these ships out of their port. They're safe in port. But if we try to move them, out, they would get attacked and probably killed because they'd be so outnumbered. So that would be bad. We want to core these, but we can't until we finish the war with Provence. Just a little bit of a silly thing there. We don't want to accept Provence's peace deal. We want to make our own peace deal against Provence. We know we can build buildings. We know there's disputed successions. We know there's truces that are expiring. We know that we have uncontested claims. We can go to our diplomatic tab to see those. The Brittany ones are permanent. They won't ever expire. The ones down here in Provence are permanent. The only ones that aren't permanent are the English ones, and we already know we're going to be attacking England before those expire anyways. And the Burgundy ones are not permanent, but we will, if we take this land, we'll get permanent ones from Burgundy. So that's something to consider. In fact, if we were to take this land, what would happen? Well, if we look down here in the bottom left, 28 aggressive expansion. We just got a lot of aggressive expansion taking stuff from the Pope. So you can see there's a huge list of very, very, very angry nations right here. Very angry nations. I'm tempted to actually say, hey, what if we might just have to just take one province, leave this one behind. Who's going to be upset by that? Genoa. Okay, we're working on buttering them right now. Switzerland, we have a truce with them. Milan. Okay, we need to work on Milan. Aragon? Really? Savoy? Aragon? I thought we buttered them up a bit. Not enough, clearly. Not enough. Not enough. Okay. So let's work on Aragon for a few months. We'll work on Savoy for a few months while we're finishing these sieges. I think if we can get Aragon, Savoy, and Genoa to drop it, Milan to drop it, then we'll be fine. We don't want more than 3 nations to be angry with us. Of course, England, nations that have a truce with us are not a big deal. Rival nations are not a big deal because Burgundy just hates us. So there's nothing we could do about that. We just don't want England and Burgundy to be able to team up together, which is kind of what would happen if we... Wow, France gets full Elan. 15% extra morale of armies for 15 years. That's very powerful. France is amazing. We might have gotten that actually because we have offensive ideas. That might have been enough offensive idea event. So the ideas actually trigger contextual events actually. Diplomatic ideas get diplomatic positive events. That's an aggressive event, giving us more morale and ready to fight. Our troops are ready to go. That's done. So we're 100% here, but we're really kind of just waiting for some of these guys to get a little buttered up. These guys are going to join the coalition, but if they like us, they won't. So what we're trying to say is, hey, Genoa, if you're willing to get a little bit more positive rating here, Aragon, that should be high enough for Aragon. Let's work on Savoy a touch. If we can get these guys a little bit above in the positive and get a little bit of a buffer there on relationship, they won't join the coalition even if they have enough aggressive expansion to do so. It also decays 2 per year too, so that's worth keeping an eye on. There's advisors here that will help us in decaying that number faster. The Improve Relationships advisor is really good, but he's not here today. I'm gonna hire this. I'm gonna switch these leaders out for no reason. I guess they're the same age. Never mind. This guy was young, but they're both actually quite young. They're the same kind of advisor at the same cost. Losing a little bit of money here for rooting out corruption is a chunk of that. Fort maintenance. You know, at this point, actually, let's mothball the forts. The war is over, effectively. Let's mothball all the forts. These guys can come home, actually. So it's warning us that we have mothballed forts at war. That's fine. Ports are blockaded. That's fine. We have provincial unrest. So these areas are going to have unrest, and there's also going to be unrest in Ireland, too, right? Yeah, we're going to have separatists popping up in Ireland. We haven't talked about how that works, actually, have we? The way that the unrest works, right now it's yellow. We're waiting for that to turn red. When this gets to 80%, it'll turn red, and that'll warn us, like, hey, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. But what this is telling us is quite literally, if we hover over this, the Methian separatists, if we don't know where that is, we can hover over this and say, oh, it's in Pale. Okay, we remember that Pale's in Ireland. There we go. Pale's here. Cool. So there's going to be 7,000 troops that spawn here. We already have 16,000 troops waiting to meet them. 7,000 rebels is not going to be able to do anything to 16,000 like trained French soldiers. But what's going on is they're building up the infrastructure to rebel. So there's a certain amount of unrest here. It's 11.2%. You can see that there, 11.2%. However, that doesn't mean there's 11.2% chance that they just pop out of nowhere and just pop up and fight us. It's 11.2% chance that they increase their infrastructure, rebellion infrastructure, by 10%. As you can see, they've done it 4 times. They've gone from 0% to 10 to 20 to 30, now to 40%. They need to get this all the way up to 100% to rebel at all. And that will happen eventually. And it's actually estimating that on average, just running the simulation, doing the statistics, it's determining that with 11.2% unrest per month to increase it by 10% with 60% remaining, it's going to take about 5 years. It's estimating it'll be about 5 years, and those guys will rebel in 5 years. Down here, we can see that in Provence, there's two provinces that are angry with us at 14% unrest. So it's a higher percentage, and there's 2 provinces. So it does the math on that, and it determines that, oh, it's only going to take 2.5 years for these ones to rebel. Well, we have 20,000 troops ready to greet them down here. So that's not a problem. So our rebellions are actually being taken care of just fine. That'll go red when we really need to pay attention to it as well. Orleans is getting up to 190. Remember, we need to be at 190 and at peace in order to start the integration process with a vassal. So we need to get these guys up to... we need to get these guys up a little bit. In fact, one way we can do that actually is by... sending them a gift. Just paying them just a measly amount of money, and they'll be willing. So Milan's a little angry with us. The Pope, we have a truce with the Pope. Genoa's still angry with us, but we're still working on Genoa. Saluzzo, Burgundy, Brittany. Brittany's actually thinking about... Okay, so we still have a little bit of work to do here. Still. Let's go up to speed 4 actually, while we're kind of just hanging for a second. What does our navy look like? You know, I want to build a couple more. I want to make sure that we have complete dominance over England. We're going to build up to 8 heavies, and then we're going to start building lights. So we want more light ships than England. We want more heavy ships than England. Speed 4 again. We're kind of stalling right now a little bit. Oh, we can get our first idea group. We have 400 military power. Technologies cost about 600 as a base and can be modified up and down with bonuses and penalties. But with ideas, it's 400 apiece. And likewise, it can go up and down with bonuses and penalties. 400 points military. We do not need to save these points for a military technology because we're 7 years ahead of time. There's a 70% penalty until we wait 7 years. So we want to wait 7 years for this penalty to go away. Plus, we also have the Renaissance penalty until we embrace the Renaissance. So yeah, this is totally fine. Let's start working on our ideas. Great. Bayonet leaders. Our leaders will now have +1 land leader shock. When we roll new generals, when we recruit new generals, they will be more proficient in shock, which is good because that's one of the most important stats a general can have. So aside what they would have randomly rolled when you recruit them from your army, they will also have an additional +1 shock. We're moving 4,000 over just to have a snug 20,000 over here in Ireland. The other 8,000 will kind of set behind here and just kind of have waiting on standby. We are going to want to attack Leinster. We're also going to want to attack Offaly as well. We need to get a claim on Offaly, though. Thing is, like right now, our diplomats are really tied up right now. We don't want to accept any peace deals from Siena or anything like that. Oh, Pope has embraced the Renaissance. Good for them. We've maxed out on Genoa, it seems. Let's send something to Siena. We could take their money. Yeah, what the heck? Let's take a little bit of their money and get them out of the war. Something just happened with England. I clicked through that a little bit too fast. Those messages that pop up are not that important. If it's something super, super important, it will be like an event. Milan, and Saluzzo. Saluzzo and Milan. Of the other one, and Brittany. Brittany's still there. We're working on Brittany. We need to get them to about a 20 opinion of us. Yeah, because of this excommunication, it's just everybody hates us. Everybody hates us. I mean, we might as well start working on Milan, but I think what we're going to have to wait for Milan to do is we're going to have to wait for their actual aggressive expansion to tick down at the end of the year. So January is when that happens. So we need that minus 41 aggressive expansion. We need that to go down to 39 or 40 basically. It just needs to go down by 1. It's going to go down by 2 at the end of this year. So at the end January 1461, we're going to end the war with Provence, and we should be fine at that point. Our prestige is already going down. I'm going to let it just keep going down rather than lose other valuable resources. "10 years until we can attack England. I believe we can double check the truces by clicking on England and looking here. Truce with Orleans, France, Foix, so on and so forth, all of our vassals. 1470, yep, so we got 10 years to prepare for war against England. It'd be great if we could call Castile into that. That'd be ideal. We would have definite naval dominance at that point. Oh, Burgundy is actually declaring war on Savoy. Savoy is probably not part of the empire anymore. No, because Italy has fallen away. Italy has fallen away from the HRE, and Burgundy is pouncing on that. So Savoy's down a war. We're going to give them military access. That's actually going to make them like us a little bit more, hopefully. Good luck, Savoy. Good luck. They're allied with Saluzzo. That's it. Oh, they're toast. They are toast. Birth of a permanent taxation system. Extra base tax at Paris and Narbonne. 15 government reform. A little bit of local unrest for a few years in those areas. No worries. Paris isn't really like a hub of unrest. We'll be fine. Although it is actually a positive amount of unrest over there for them, apparently. Oh no, we lost one of our military generals. We lost one of them, but we still have our amazing sieger, which is kind of nice. But one of our generals has retired or died. I actually didn't read to see what happened there. It's presumably retired because no battles are going on right now. Actually, we are about to... Okay, Provence is about to pop up here. So it's at 90%. This has gone red at 90% here. We can see 9,000 rebels are going to spawn somewhere. We can estimate where they're going to spawn based on development. They'll usually spawn in the higher development province. I'm going to move these troops over here to preemptively expect them to spawn here. That'll give us the defensive bonus in the hills. We're prepared for the rebellion. So any month now, in fact, it's saying just within the next 1 or 2 months, these guys could pop up on us. And our troops are already in position with a good general reigning over this army. Any month now that could trigger. But we'll be ready. Oh, we wanted to end the war with Provence, actually. Let's do that. There we go. No one's in there except Saluzzo. Saluzzo is in a war right now, so they can't do anything about this. We could take their money. Yeah, here's something actually that's important to think about. The truce that you build with when you build a peace deal, and I'm just clicking on this province because we want it. Actually, what would happen if we took this one instead? It'd be even less aggressive expansion. Brittany would be able to go in. Actually, here's an interesting thing. What is Brittany's... Brittany's only allied with Utrecht. We could easily just attack Brittany pretty much whenever we want. Brittany's truce with them will end in 4 years, and Brittany will probably just attack at that point. Although we could guarantee the independence of Provence. I don't think that would help us much. They'd just give us... Oh, holy cow, what's going on in Castile? Civil War! Civil War breaks out in Castile. Holy cow, I hope you guys do okay down there. That's our ally down there getting ravaged by noble rebels, pretender rebels. Castile is literally in the middle of a civil war right now. That's kind of awesome. But that's not going to help us against England. Hopefully they clean that up in the next 9 years. That's interesting. This province, the thing about this province here is it's the more egregious one. Or it's the most it's the less sort of, this one is enveloped by our entire nation. No one's going to take this from us except for Brittany. This one, Savoy could come in and take it, or Genoa could come in and take it, or some Aragon could come in and try to take it. So if we took this, it would be ours for sure. It's also a little less aggressive expansion. We can't take both. Too many people would be upset about this. Venice, Austria. I mean, this would literally be a coalition with Aragon, Burgundy, Venice, Austria, and more little guys would be jumping into it. That would be not good. Not good. But honestly, this is kind of interesting. Although Milan would think to join this. Because it's a little bit more close to them, so they'd care a little bit more. That's interesting. We take this one, we just beat up... If Brittany wants to swoop in there and do that, we just attack. We just declare war on Brittany. Yeah, we could do that. What I want to talk about, though, is truces. When you end a war with someone, when you've been at war with someone, it's a 5-year truce as a baseline. And then that's going to go up 1 year for every 10 war score. So it's a maximum of 15-year truce with a 100% war deal. This is only going to be a 19 war deal. So instead of taking their money and artificially increasing the war deal, we're going to actually keep their money at 0 and just do 19 to minimize the truce so that we can attack these guys in 7 short years. So we're kind of hoping we'll just swoop in and just attack them in 7 years. That's kind of what we're hoping. Yeah, let's do this. Nice. Core all this land. Give Bologna military access. Just give everybody military access to make them happy. It says we can get a new technology, but we would be taking a 10% penalty on this. I don't think we're going to do that. Instead, we've ended the war with Provence. I think we're going to actually be integrating Orleans and doing some other things with our diplomatic power. We're going to need to gesture, not even gesture, but we're going to want to attack in Ireland as well. So we got a number of things we need to be working on right now. Thanks everybody for being here. Man, I really didn't want all these episodes to run long, but that's kind of what the nature of it is. There's so many things to talk about, so many things to do, so many things to explain. This is a very complicated game, and it takes hundreds of hours to learn how to play. There's no one single YouTube tutorial that will learn how to play, and hopefully the people that are listening right now are the ones that are enthusiastic about learning how to play and really building a strong foundation for this game, which is, again, this is not just a pick up and play game. You have to study this game. And that's appealing to a lot of people, and that's kind of what I love about it, is that I feel like I'm a student of the game. constantly learning new things. Thanks everybody for being here, though. If you guys have questions, please ask in the comments. I will respond to every single question. In fact, I respond to 99% of just the comments in general. So commenting is fantastic and a great way to get a response from me directly. And playlist link down below to make sure you follow along to the next episode. Subscribing helps with that as well. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. You guys are crazy if you guys are the ones still listening. We will be back in the next episode. Thanks everybody for being here.